Let's go ahead on google.com and find for XAMPP download. All right, so we need to choose a XAMPP installation which is compatible to your Windows version. We are going to take a look at all the options available, and we will download the 64-bit XAMPP installation or the exe file. Right. So let's go ahead and download the 64-bit XAMPP exe. You can see the different versions of PHP which is available with XAMPP. So we are going to go ahead with the first one, that is PHP 7.3. For all of y'all who have knowledge about PHP and how the programming or the development works, for them they can choose whichever PHP version they are looking for. For non-developers, you can go ahead with the first option because you are not a developer, but you still want to go ahead and try out WordPress. Okay, the downloading is done. We are going to go ahead and open the file. We are doing this tutorial not only for developers, but for those guys especially who are not well versed with WordPress or who are not developers. Kind of removing the dependency of getting a developer when y'all want to create a WordPress website. So we are trying to open the XAMPP installation. All right, so these are the options which are available while installing XAMPP. We need just few options from all the checkboxes that you see. We need Apache, we need MySQL. We do not need FileZilla. We do not need Mercury mail server, and we do not need Tomcat. We'll also remove Perl. We'll remove Webalizer, and we'll also remove fake send email. So Apache is the HTTP server inbuilt in XAMPP. MySQL is the database which is inbuilt in XAMPP. PHP to run WordPress, and my PhpMyAdmin is the database user interface. How do you access user interface? In my previous tutorial, I showed you all that to access database, we are using DB in Windows, sorry, in Linux, but in Windows, we are using MySQL with PhpMyAdmin. So now let's proceed to the next step of XAMPP installation. It's pretty simple and quick. There are not many steps before actually starting the WordPress installation. XAMPP is a very good package for Windows, Linux, and also Mac. This is what we see during the installation. It's the it's the permission that the Windows is asking. So XAMPP, we have to give permission to XAMPP HTTP server, that is Apache, and allow it in the firewall. Yes, we do want to start the control panel after the installation is over. The control panel is a very easy interface. It gives all the options right in front of you. On the left hand side, you will see module. Under module, you will see Apache MySQL. So these are the only two things we require now. It's very simple. On the right hand side, under actions, you will see start. Start for both Apache and MySQL. Now, after starting MySQL and Apache, we will be able to go ahead and start setting up WordPress on Windows. Once the Apache server starts, again on the left hand side, you will see the Apache with a green background. So that means Apache is running successfully on Windows. It's on port 80. And now let's go ahead and start MySQL. Again, a green color background. Now a similar interface, a pop-up again appeared, which says allow access. So Windows should allow XAMPP MySQL to run in Windows environment. This step, we have to check whether the Apache server is running successfully or not. So now we are going to go ahead to the browser. We are going to type in localhost. Actually, we have to type http://localhost. Uh, as I said in my previous video, localhost refers to the local development environment that we have set up via XAMPP. Okay, now you see that this screen, if it appears successfully on your machine, that means XAMPP and Apache has been successfully installed with all the correct configuration. Now we see that when we type only localhost, we are redirected to /dashboard. Now why is that? Okay, there is some configuration, there is some code running in the background which is redirecting you to dashboard instead of just localhost. Let's find the reason why did it redirect to /dashboard. So now this is your C drive. You see the folder XAMPP. We will enter this folder and check what's happening inside. We'll also get to see the file structure. Okay, so if you see from the left hand side, you will see from the Explorer that XAMPP is the folder. Let's go inside. Now htdocs is the folder that we want to target. htdocs is the local host of XAMPP server. Okay, that's the entry point. Now you see this folder structure. There is index.php and there is dashboard folder. We'll open index.php as that is the first file which is executed when you type localhost in the URL is index.php. Okay, so you see here in the header section we have written header location URI is download the latest WordPress like we did in our last Linux WordPress tutorial. There is no different in the WordPress files for Linux, Windows, or Macintosh machines. WordPress files have been downloaded. Now I'm extracting the files. Once the files are extracted, we will copy this entire folder. We will navigate to the C drive. Yes, we will navigate to the C drive because this entire so this is the extracted WordPress folder. We'll take a look at all the files. You again see the wp-config-sample.php file. So that needs to be renamed to wp-config.php file. We are navigating to the XAMPP folder in C drive, as we know that the htdocs is the default directory of the local host. Let's open that and we will paste the WordPress folder in this htdocs folder. The next step would be to go ahead and start the PhpMyAdmin. Now, as I told you before, PhpMyAdmin is used to control the database on your Windows. Great. So once you click on the admin button on XAMPP, it will directly open the PhpMyAdmin on the browser. Now we'll quickly go ahead and create the database named throttleadder for this setup. If you do not know the previous, in the previous video, there was an error that had occurred on the browser because there was no database created. So in this video, we will first create the database and then we'll go ahead and start the installation. As you see, there are no tables in this database because the WordPress setup is going to create all the tables inside this database that we just created. We know that we have to rename the wp-config-sample.php file. We will open this file and we will change the details that is mentioned in this file. Why are we doing that? So that the WordPress installation, while it is setting up, it gets successfully connected to the database that we just created. So here we have to write and update the db underscore name, db underscore user, db underscore password, and db underscore host will remain localhost because we are setting this on local. Let's write the db name as throttleadder. We will update the username. We want to update the username in the wp-config.php file, but do we know it yet? Because it was a fresh installation of uh, because it was a fresh installation of XAMPP, we did not know what the username, what the password is of the database, right? But if you come back to PhpMyAdmin, go to Privileges tab, you will see the username right in front of you. That is root. Usually for all the machines, let it be Windows, Linux, or Mac, the default username of local MySQL installation is always root. The password is not set already. It's not by default. So we will keep it blank. When you're on public servers, when you're doing it for your clients on a public URL, do not keep the password blank. Do not keep the password as root or very simple. Keep a strong password so that no one can break your WordPress setup. All right, so we have saved the file. Now we'll go ahead and start the WordPress installation. So in the URL, we type HTTP. It should not be HTTPS, it should be HTTP. right? So we had pasted the folder named WordPress in the htdocs folder. So the htdocs is basically the local host. Now inside htdocs, there is WordPress folder. So in the URL also, we are going to type /WordPress, which is going to initiate the process of WordPress setup. Fantastic. So here we see that all the configuration that we did in wp-config.php file, it was perfect. And that is how we are able to see this page, or else you would have seen the error page over here, error establishing database connection. Okay, so we will keep the language as English. You can select any other language if you want and click on continue. Let's add the site title as Throttladda. We will give the username as admin and the password as admin. As I did mention before, for MySQL in PhpMyAdmin, do not keep weak passwords because we are on local, we are using basic username and password. Confirm to WordPress that you are using a weak password. My email ID is alvin.chettiar@hotmail.com. The last option, discourage search engines from indexing. This option tells Google and all other bots which come on your website to track your website, to index your website, and to rank it on their website. Like for example, Google in Google search. In on local, it doesn't matter much, but I'm just checking and explaining this option so that you are aware what it does. We'll click on install WordPress. Now, this is the last step that we have to do to successfully install WordPress on Windows machine. Awesome. So the installation is done. We know that the username is admin. We know the password that we have set in the previous step. We'll go ahead and log in to the WordPress backend, and we'll be able to see a fantastic dashboard of WordPress right in front of you on your local Windows machine. Great. So we have completed the installation steps of WordPress on Windows machine. Uh, if you are not a Windows user and you want to check how WordPress can be installed on your Linux machine, go to the previous video, that is WordPress installation on Linux. I'll be copying and pasting the URL of the video in the comment section or in description. If you all are liking what I'm trying to do here, do like, share, subscribe to the video for the upcoming videos that I'm going to put on WordPress installation, and don't forget to hit the bell button because that is going to remind you when I release my next video. Thank you guys.